Hi, my name is Shira Rubinoff. I'm here with Sam Werner, VP of Offering Management at IBM Storage. Sam, pleasure to be speaking with you today.
Hey, Shara, great to be speaking with you today.
Thank you. So, Sam, digital transformation is being embraced across many organizations as enterprises are trying to accelerate the digital transformation. So, why is storage becoming such an inhibitor to meeting their objectives?
Yeah, it's interesting in these times we're in, we're actually seeing this major acceleration of digital transformation. And those initiatives aren't usually being driven by the IT, the infrastructure teams. It's being driven by the application teams, by the business lines, as they try to accelerate their innovation and development and start moving towards a model where they can build once and deploy anywhere so they can embrace this hybrid cloud model. And often, since they're not engaging the infrastructure teams, they're not fully thinking through the architecture required. Now, of course, when you start building new applications, data is very important. As customers start moving some of their mission critical applications, data is absolutely critical, particularly when you start looking at the SLAs for the application, ensuring that you have the appropriate performance and the data is available where it's needed. And then on top of that, you have governance requirements, security, DR, so disaster recovery, business continuance, all that sort of stuff. And if you don't think through the storage up front, what you find out is as these teams start architecting out a solution that leverages containers to build more flexibility and agility into their applications, that they can't actually deploy them into production because they didn't think through the data aspect of it. And then it's falling back on storage teams. So I'm constantly talking to storage administrators. That's what I do,
Right.
and infrastructure teams, and they're finding that the business lines are coming to them later and saying, "Hey, your storage isn't supporting this digital transformation." And now they're trying to play catch up. So my message to CTOs and CIOs out there is make sure you're engaging storage teams early. And my message to the storage teams is go find out what the business lines are doing, because you need to be architecting this up front before you're in the way of this important transformation that's happening.
Certainly. And you just hit on another piece of digital transformation of having one hand talk to the other, both being incentivized to work together when there was more of a split of specific roles and specific responsibilities. So certainly the pieces you're talking about that they need to work together hand in hand really go cross pollinates across the roles. So thank you for that. I think that's very important advice you're giving. And now we're talking about data security and business continuity. They're the top priorities for many, if not all organizations. So what would you say the infrastructure needs to be considered when turning strategy into an execution plan, particularly as enterprises move to adopt containers?
Right. So, and this is a really, really important point. So again, we're in this crazy time, global pandemic. And unfortunately, while many parts of the economy got shut down, one that definitely did not was the criminal organizations that are driving ransomware attacks. In fact, we've seen a major uptick. And unfortunately, they're targeting really mission critical types of organizations like hospitals, educators, governments, people that really need to ensure that they're up and operational through these times. So they're using this as a very opportunistic moment to attack. And on top of that, you have enterprises going through major digital transformation, as I just mentioned, moving towards containers. And as they do that, they're actually, again, if you're not thinking through the storage piece, you could leave yourself exposed. So every enterprise needs to have a strategy around how do you air gap your data. If you do air, and it doesn't have to be a physical air gap. A simple way to air gap is to use tape, and that's a great way to air gap because you really take your data offline. But there's logical air gaps you can do that ensure that you can do quick recovery. So every enterprise should be thinking through, should be doing an assessment of how they're protected, what it would take to recover their data in the event something does happen, and it will. It's hard, you're not going to be able to stop 100% of these attacks. It's a matter of when, and it's about having a response plan and ensuring that you have data you can get back. It's too often I talk to enterprises, they have an incident and they did have a backup of their data and they don't have a way to get the data back in a timely fashion on their mission critical data, and they have to pay the ransom anyway. Or they find that their actual backup was exposed. So you can leverage air gapping physically with tape. You can do logical air gaps within a data center into another network, or you can leverage the cloud and build a hybrid cloud model. We at IBM offer all the tools necessary, and we can also do evaluations for you, look at your storage environment and ensure that you have a plan in the event something happens, that you're protected and can recover.
I think also one thing I want to point out, something critical that you said, it's not if the attack happens, it's when. And I think organizations are finally starting to realize that. And certainly, as you mentioned with the pandemic, we're exposed to many more attacks. Cyber attacks are going through the roof. Attacks are coming from all different areas to all sectors. So tightening up on that is critical for all organizations. So that was a very important piece. Thank you. What does the transformation journey look like for most enterprises, and how are they tackling their persistent storage challenges? And more specific, how is IBM helping them?
That's a great question. And if you think about it, most enterprises have a very significant investment, capital investment in storage infrastructure. And not only that, they've built it up over time so that it's got the encryption they need, the security they need, they've got replication, they understand their SLAs. If there's an event of any sort, they can fail over to a DR site. They have hyperswap built in so they can do very quick recovery and keep running. So they've got all of that sorted out. Now, as you start doing this digital transformation and moving to containers, you don't want to throw all that out and completely re-architect from scratch. What most enterprises are doing is instead building their container infrastructure in a way that leverages their existing investments. And so what we've done in IBM across our entire storage portfolio is we've integrated what's called CSI drivers across the whole portfolio, which is the container storage interface. That allows you to automate and manage storage within your Kubernetes environment or OpenShift environment. And on top of that, we're building in Ansible automation across our entire storage portfolio, so you can actually accelerate. You get the agility you need and the automation you need, but you can leverage your existing investment. On top of that, we're containerizing our portfolio and shifting more towards a container native approach, so that as you build out new clusters and new environments, you can start doing a transformation, and then also give you the ability to deploy both on-prem and in the cloud, giving you a hybrid cloud management approach to your data layer. We do this with Red Hat OpenShift Container Storage, which is container native storage solution for Red Hat OpenShift. And we also are doing it now with Spectrum Scale, which is our scale out file infrastructure used by the majority of large banks. It's used as a high performance and AI infrastructure across many industries. And we've now made that container native as well, allowing you to simplify the deployment of the client for that across your Kubernetes clusters. So we're giving you the ability to start with what you have, integrate that into your new environment for containers, and we're giving you the ability in the future to leverage container native deployment. And the last point I'll make is, most of our customers, for their mission critical applications, are running them in a Z environment, our System Z platform. And we also provide that integration so that our storage also integrates at the container layer level for both our System Z and Power platforms. So we're able to provide our customers the ability to automate their data and data management in Power, in Z, in x86, and in cloud environments with one management framework for all of that.
Well, Sam, thank you very much for this great information share with our audience. I'm sure they've learned a lot, gathered a lot, and will take a look at what the offerings are. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.